Hey, good morning, grow yourself and help others. My name is Brian, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about finance and the four quadrants. That's kind of really popular with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. So let's get right to it. So really and truly, according to Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and his book, Four Quadrants, there's four quadrants in life for finances. There's the E, S, B, and I. And you fall into one of these four. Everyone, if you have a job and you make money, somehow you make money, you fall into one of these four. Quick way to describe them is the E is the employee. Probably 90% of everybody falls into this category. Employees work for somebody else, they earn a paycheck, and that's that. S is your small business owner. These are the people who have small businesses. They maybe run from home, they do on the side. They are not super scalable to be big conglomerate empires. Generally, one-man shops, they can get it done. Nothing wrong with S's. Next step up is going to be the B. Those are the big businesses. Now, there's a difference between an S and a small b. A small b is a business that has to keep going. So you just started a business. Let's say you started a flower shop. You have small clients, small customers. Maybe it's just you. Go down the road. You've hired some employees. You keep going. You open your second, your third, your fourth. Next thing you know, you're 1-800-Flowers.com. And you have billions of dollars worth of business online and offline. You never know what's going to happen. Just because you're a S today doesn't mean you couldn't grow into a B. And just because you're a small B, doesn't mean you're a true S. So there is some leeway there. You can kind of move it that way. The last one is I. I is the playground of the super rich. I are your investors. They don't work. They have their money work. You go see these shows like Shark Tank. Yeah, I'll give you $100,000, but I want 50% ownership of your company. Okay, so you sell a product. Your total profit is $1. Okay, so as 50% owner, I make 50 cents. You make 200,000 sales, I have my $100,000 back. You make 400,000 sales, I've made my 100,000, I've doubled my money. I have my original 100,000 and 100,000 more. I didn't have to work, you did the work, but I made the money. So that's where the playground of the super rich is, the I. That's where the super rich want to be, that's where they play. So, kind of leave a comment, where do you think you are today? I know I personally am in 3 of the 4 quadrants. You can be in multiple. I have a full-time 9-to-5 job. I have a small S company. It's a affiliate marketing. There's really no way to scale it, run more ads. If you don't know what affiliate marketing is, don't worry. I'll explain it maybe in a future episode. Next thing I'm involved in is my B is a network marketing company. You probably know what those are. You've probably had them described to you before. You've probably gone to one of those pitch parties and whatever. Not how I run it, but that's how a lot of people do it. So yeah. And I'm looking to get into I. I'm looking actually actively right now to buy my first investment real estate house. Buy a house, rent it out, make the profit off of that. The house pays for itself, and I put a little bit of extra cash in my pocket every day. That's how I plan to do it. Eventually, I plan to get away from E and move entirely more towards B and I. Why? Taxes. That's the biggest reason. When you're in E, you work, you earn your money, you pay your taxes, you spend the rest. You've gotten your paycheck. At the top it says 40 hours worked at $20 an hour, total output earned, blah, blah, blah. Oh, here's your FICA tax, here's your Social Security tax, here's your state tax, here's your federal tax, here's how much is deposited. Done. When you're an S, B, or I, it reverses. So instead of earn, tax, spend, it's earn, spend, tax. And just that little tweak makes a huge difference. So yes, Mr. Taxman, I made $10 million this year with my company. but I spent $9 million to earn that. That was how much I spent in travel expenses, how much I spent buying food, how much I spent for this expense and that expense, and buying the product raw. So really and truly, at the end of the day, I only have $1 million left that you get to tax me. And here's my check for that. Whereas if you'd made that $10 million as an E, you probably would have paid $5 million in taxes. Just because that's how it works. Now, I'm no tax lawyer. I'm not an EA. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax lawyer. None of that. So kind of take this all with like a grain of salt. If you really want to know the true legalities, talk to a lawyer. Talk to your CPA. Talk to an EA. I'm telling you how I understand it. Like I said yesterday, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. I'm breaking this down to the simplest tasks I know. I don't know the legalese. Just don't know it. So that's kind of the 4 quadrants, and that's how the 4 quadrants kind of work. I mean, it's a real basic overview. I definitely recommend go read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Robert Kiyosaki's book, The 4 Quadrants. You can read them independent. Rich Dad, Poor Dad kind of explains the 4 quadrants very broad, and the 4 quadrant book really gets into some very specific details on how they work. So those are the kind of the 2 books I recommend. Hey, write a comment below if you've ever read those books. I've read them both. I have got them both on audiobook. Listen to them in the car. It's how I do my books a lot of the time. So yeah, this is Brian signing off. So just again, the 4 quadrants, think where you are, think where you'd like to be. Think of the way to get from A to B. It's not hard. You want to be an investor. A few $1,000s, go get a second house, rent it out, and live on the profits. A few $1,000s, go get into the stock market. I mean, Warren Buffett. Think he works for his money? He buys a company and the company pays him to buy them. What? Yeah. So, always think about that stuff. Yeah. So, grow yourself and help others. I hope this has been helpful for you. I know I learned a little bit. Thanks and have a good day.